Okay, so here we are again. This time we're going to be testing out OpenBSD, which is something I wanted to do last year, I realised, so I thought I'd better get on with it. So it's not going to quite be a review, because it's not going to be in-depth enough, but it will just be like a little look around at how it works and how to install packages and what it's like to use it and install it and that kind of thing. So I'll start by creating my virtual machine, which I'll just call OpenBSD, and it will have 2 gigs of RAM, because that will be plenty. Now the automatic partitioning divides it up into a bunch of partitions, so I'm going to give it lots of disk space, because I have enough space for 50 on my laptop, so it'll be 50. Just so more of the space is given to applications, because when I first tried it I gave it 16, which I filled up pretty quickly because I only gave 2 of it for applications, 2 gigs. So we're not going to use EFI because I can't get it to boot like that, but that might be my fault, but it works as a BIOS boot system, so we'll just do that, that's fine. So give it lots of display memory. I don't know whether I'll be able to use it, I don't know whether there are guest editions, but I guess we'll find out. I'll pick the install CD, and that's that. So this is now ready to go. So I'm going to use automatic partitioning, because I tried manual partitioning and it didn't make a lot of sense, and it was kind of hard to see what was going on in a small window like this. So that's why I've given it the big disk. So this is running on the laptop over VNC, so we can get an idea of how it runs on an actual normal system as opposed to the somewhat ludicrous thing I'm doing the screen capture on. So that's the idea. It might look a bit blurry because I've scaled it up for you, so if you're on mobile you'll be able to read it. But it should be plenty fine. So I'm going to tell it to configure EM0, which must be the wired network card, I guess. I don't know what VLAN 0 is, but maybe that's something like the loopback address in Linux. Don't care about the DNS domain name. Usual super secure root password. Not, but it doesn't matter because it's a virtual machine. Feel I should note I do use a proper password in my actual systems. I always do that. Okay. What I did learn is that you shouldn't press Ctrl-C during installation or it will just drop you to the shell. Which is kind of weird, but that was me trying to fix something. Yeah, so it's called the disk WD0 as opposed to SDA or HDA or something. But that's fine, there's only one disk, so it'll be that one. Seeing as we're booting in BIOS mode, we'll use MBR. And that's the weird layout it gives you by default. So for software, which is user/local, is given us 7 gigs, that'll be fine. Yeah. Okay, and it's given us 20 gigs for home. Okay, don't know what's up with this here, but yeah, I mean it looks like it's used all the 50 gigs of space and that's just a weird anomaly or something. Not sure why it's done that. It's also given us swap, so we have partition for /swap, temp, var, and a few under user and then home partition. So we'll just use the auto layout. It's now partitioning it for us, I guess. So they're called RWD0A, which is interesting. And you can see here that it's writing to the disk, which is why it's useful having it in this mode. Yeah, I meant to do this video a long time ago, but I completely forgot. So yeah, but we do have some Windows subsystem for Linux stuff coming up, which should hopefully be interesting. And yeah, I should note that the support forum is now up. I created a support forum a couple of days ago, which is at hamishmb.com/forum, so anyone who wants to ask support questions about my programs can now go on there instead of emailing me, which makes it easier to keep track of, but also everyone can see the resolution, which is useful. So we'll use CD, seeing as we have one, that's fine. And we want to install everything. Yeah, we'll continue with that verification because I know the CD is fine. So now it goes about installing a bunch of stuff. I'm sorry about the road noise if you can hear it. Hopefully you can't. So it goes about installing a bunch of stuff, which is kind of slightly alien to me, having used Linux and never used BSD, but it is pretty fast, which is good. Yeah. I suppose I should note some of the other things I'm going to be doing soon. So there is... I'm just going to bring my note up. Oh yeah, that was it. That was what I wanted to say. I've got a Chrome OS thing coming up, and you can't exactly download Chrome OS, but you can install something called Cloud Ready in VMware. Doesn't work in VirtualBox for me for some reason, but we'll be doing that soon. It's one of the next things I want to do. I also want to do a post about X11 VNC, which is what we're using right now here to see this installation, which is just like a VNC server, except rather than creating a new display, it connects to what's being displayed on your screen. So I also use it for remote working, so if it's a sunny day I can go out and work in the garden and connect back to the desktop and do like heavyweight virtual machine stuff that the laptop can't handle remotely, and it works really nicely. And the... what's it called? I can't remember what it's called. Yeah, this VNC client is called Remina, and it's fairly standard, but what I like about it is when you have a display that's on the other end that's bigger than your end, it will scroll for you as you move the mouse around, rather than you having to use scroll bars. So I think that's kind of enough nattering, and you can see how this works now. It just sort of... oh, it gives you an ETA as well. That's nice. So it sort of just does each one, gives you some progress. So I'm going to skip till when it's done to keep this installation fairly short. Okay, so once we're done installing the base packages, it asks us again where we want to install stuff from, or if we're done. And we're done, so I'll just hit enter. Saving configuration, making device nodes, and I'm guessing it's going to reboot in a second. No, relinking the kernel. Okay. Okay, so we have completed our install, so we should reboot. That's nice. Okay, I'll tell it to boot from the hard drive, just in case it boots from CD. Hit enter. Okay, we are now booting our new BSD install. You can see it mounting all the... no, that's checking the file systems actually. Not mounting them. Yeah, reordering libraries, whatever that means. Connected to the network. So this is just like first boot stuff, but even for that it doesn't take that long. Okay, so it should boot straight to the X server, which is what it looks like it's doing. I've got this weird double mouse pointer thing going on here. Okay, so I'll log in as me. And here we go. This might bring you back a bit. It brings me back. So, To install stuff, I believe the command is package add. So if I want to install Firefox, I can do that. But as root. So I'll switch to root. Okay. And I think I will install LXDE. I don't know how you search for available packages. I'm going to look at that in a second. Can't find LXDE yet, so I'm going to pause it for a second and have a look at that so we can find out the name of the package. Okay, so what we have to do is use package info-q for query LXDE, and that should tell us anything if there's any package named in a similar way, which there is not. But if I search for Firefox, which I know is available, it should come up. Here we go. Firefox internationalization stuff and a bunch of other things. If we scroll up, Firefox ESR. Okay. So I think we'll need a browser, so we'll install Firefox. I'll just like set up a basic graphical desktop environment here. Okay, so I'm going to fast forward this bit here. As you can see, Firefox is now installed and the process is pretty different to Linux or DNF or apt or the other systems you can use. Yes, can't run Firefox as root. That's a bad idea. So I'm just going to show you that it works, and then we are going to install a desktop environment so we don't have to use this, because it's the nicest looking and most easy to use environment ever. Okay, so you can see it's launching because we have hard drive activity, and up here CPU is busy. I've switched to workspace again by accident, haven't I? But we got Firefox. And it's pretty much as you would think. Okay, we'll close Firefox. It's running a bit slowly because it's in a virtual machine, but there we go. Weird window colours. Maybe they're not that weird, but I'm not used to them. Okay, so I'll just change the workspace back quickly. Oh, there we go. We are now on the old workspace. So what I want to do is now, there we go. So I want to switch back to root. And I looked up some commands for installing Xfce. So what I need to do is yeah, I didn't want to do that. Okay, package add -v, which I guess is for both, console kit to Xfce extras. We've got Firefox. We don't really need any of the rest of the stuff on that list. So we'll just install the base Xfce. Okay, so it's figuring out what to do. And what's weird, I've noticed, is as it's extracting, it looks like up here it's downloading at the same time, which is not what you might think. So we're going to skip to the end now. Okay, So we've now installed it, but I need to do a little bit of configuration, which means I also want nano, because this comes with VI, which I sort of, but not really, know how to use. So it's easier to just install a text editor I know how to use. Here we go. So I want to do ethics/rc.conf.local. Okay. So I need to add some stuff. I need to add that, and I also need to add PMB flags equals -a, which enables power management, and package scripts equals message bus, which enables dbus and console kit stuff according to this page. Okay, so now I need to switch to my user and add an Xsession file. But I'll just see if I have one right now. No. Okay, nano.xsession. And this needs to have exec console kit launch session start Xfce 4. So that when I log in, it will just start it for me. So at this point, I should be able to just reboot, which I need to do as root. There we go. And when it next comes up, it should start Xfce for me. I'll tell it to boot from the hard drive again. So as you can see, this is a bit more involved than installing a graphical environment in Linux, where you would normally just say, you know, package manager, say dnf install GNOME or Xfce or LXDE or apt install, and it would set everything up for you. There is some manual setup that you need to do, and it doesn't come with a graphical environment. Well, it does. It comes with what we were just using, but it's not a super user-friendly graphical environment. Hence why we're installing Xfce. Okay, so starting the graphical thing, which should mean once I've logged in, we have access to things. To Xfce it should take us to. So I am Hamish. Let's see what it does. If it doesn't do it, I can probably start it manually anyway, but it's just better if it does it at login like it normally would. Okay. Well, if you look at the CPU usage, you can see it's still crunching stuff, so it probably is booting into the graphical environment. Something's happening. Here we go. Yep, here we go. So we'll just use the default config, which looks like it's a panel at the top. So this is a bit more familiar now that we have a nice graphical environment. Let's try and sort this mouse out a little bit. There we go. I don't think we need that, so I'll close it. Okay. So we have some default stuff available. Just like, yeah, so a note thing, a file manager, an archiver, all that kind of stuff, web browser, which we installed manually. So at this point you could install stuff like LibreOffice, and then you'd have a more or less fully functional desktop environment, which would be good. So yeah, this is basically the point I wanted to get to. So we have like a graphical user environment, a web browser, some standard tools, and it's all in quite a compact package. and it's reasonably nice to use as well. It's very different to Linux in terms of how it works underlyingly, in terms of how the underlying operating system works. But a lot of the same programs can be used, which is quite interesting. It's like standard process monitor thing. But it's sort of interesting to see something so different from Linux, but have a lot of the same applications. Oh, I guess it's just like running LibreOffice on Windows and known programs on Windows and that kind of thing. Not as different, but it's still, it's quite nice. I can see why people like it, because it reminds me a little bit of stuff like Slackware, where you get to install and configure absolutely everything, or Linux from scratch, which I built a long time ago, which was where you literally compile every single thing on the system, which was really good fun. Took ages, but it was really good fun. And I wanted to do it again on a Raspberry Pi actually, but I didn't have the patience, so I gave up with that. But this is quite nice, I like this. We might also have a look at TinyCore at some point and see how that works and install some stuff on that as well, and do a review of sorts. But I think for now that's probably the end of this video. I can do some more stuff on OpenBSD if you like. I hope you enjoyed this, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and hit the like button if you enjoy it, and also check out the corresponding post on my blog, which is at hamishmb.com/blog.